Welcome to Not Another PD, the podcast for helping professionals who are over dull trainings and death by slideshow workshops. I'm Jasmine Purcell, social worker, coach, supervisor, and self-proclaimed boundaries queen. Each week, you'll hear real, honest conversations, sometimes solo, sometimes with expert guests. Think insider perspectives, practical takeaways, and a focus on your well-being, not just how you show up for clients. This podcast is about you, the human behind the caseload, the human behind the profession. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Episode 9. I am joined by Steph. Steph is a passionate and fun-loving person. She's absolutely amazing. She's all about living life to the absolute fullest. She's a qualified counsellor and psychotherapist. And after more than 15 years in the dance and fitness industry, she's seen firsthand how powerful movement can be for processing and expressing emotion. Steph's approach to well-being is shaped by her belief in the deep connection between body, mind, and spirit, with her own faith and spiritual practices influencing the way she thinks about health and wholeness. Alongside her work with her psychotherapy clients, she also runs well-being workshops and retreats, supporting people to feel more connected and energized in their everyday lives. That is an amazing bio. So I had to read from the script because I didn't want to leave anything out. But Steph is phenomenal. Thank you so much for being here, Steph.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So Steph, one of the things you're really passionate about is supporting your clients who may identify as people pleasers.
Oh, yeah.
and I know myself as a, I guess, recovering people pleaser. We probably all are,
Me too.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But can you tell us a little bit about maybe your own story with people pleasing and then how, and I guess what brought you into the work that you do now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it sort of stems from childhood, like most of our stuff does. I'm the eldest girl of 5 children. So I've got an older brother and then I've got 3 younger sisters. And I was very much in a nurturing kind of motherly role growing up. And it's just very much part of my personality. And I was just so driven, I think, from a young age to please other people, to please my sisters, to please my parents, to please my teachers, you know, when I got into the workforce, to please my bosses, that sort of stuff. It was just something that really drove me. And it was where, since, you know, doing my own therapeutic work on myself, is where I found my sense of worth and my value. And it's where I felt loved. Recognizing that, I think there's a good element to it, but I kind of went like way to the extreme.
Into overdrive, as we often do in our profession.
Yes. Way too much. And I think like it was really helpful because it led me to the work that I do as a counsellor and a psychotherapist, even as like a dance and fitness instructor, like just being able to help nurture people in different ways. But yeah, the extreme of it was not very good for my health, like physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually for me as well. And the biggest hit I took was probably about maybe 2019 to go to hospital and, you know, all of this stuff. It was a big like reawakening for me of just, I can't live my life like this anymore, where I'm just constantly giving and not filling up my own cup. So that was like that biggest shift where it was literally like, my life had to stop because I just physically couldn't do it anymore. That really helped me go, okay, I need to shift things for myself, and then going on my own journey, being able to take that. And alongside that, I was, you know, finishing off my master's and everything. So by the time I was ready to, you know, enter the workforce as a qualified psychotherapist, I'd already done a lot of my work. So then it helped me to really narrow down who it is that I want to help, which were people like me where I was. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're really driven by like your mission, your values. And you also bring a lot of your own lived experience into the work that you do.
Yeah, I'm very big on like practicing what you preach. So I will like tell my clients, like, I'm not going to suggest for you to do something. Even like the therapeutic techniques and interventions we use, I wouldn't suggest something if I haven't tried it myself and felt the benefit myself, because I think it just feels more authentic and it hits in a different way.
It definitely does. And when I was doing training in ACT, a big sort of focus on that training was that you, as the learner, learning about ACT and how to apply it, you needed to apply it to yourself first. So you couldn't just, pick up a textbook or do an online training in an approach and then say, okay, now I've mastered it. So now I'm going to just teach others how to sort of implement that approach into their life. Like, you really have to embody it yourself, as 100%. You mentioned.
So that if and when your clients do have that, you've got your own experience there to kind of understand what they're going through. So I think that's just a really big asset to have as a therapist or as a helping professional, to have in some way been in your client's shoes before, because then you get them, you're able to empathize with them on a different level than just cognitively.
Yes. So, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
I just wanted to touch on something that you'd mentioned before, Steph, around that back in 2019 that you had a lot of your own health struggles and then you made a lot of changes yourself, which you've now implemented. And I mean, you're looking great. So that's obviously it's working well for you. So I guess you're someone who's able to take on the advice that you do deliver to your clients. But why do you think overall us as helping professionals do struggle to take on our own advice or implement what we know will help us?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing comes from where, as people pleasers, as helping professionals, we are trained and have developed ourselves professionally and also personally to think about the other's needs and not our own, and to put that first. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes what we can do is, like we've mentioned before, do it to overdrive, where then we end up neglecting. And so if we neglect our own needs, then we sort of, it's like a skill, right? Like if you go to the gym and you're trying to build up like, biceps or something like that, if you don't go consistently, you're going to lose the strength in your biceps, right? So it's sort of like being able to attune and know what you need is a skill you need to practice. And when we get so focused on attending and attuning to other people's needs and not our own, we lose that ability. And I think that's why it makes it so hard for us to look after ourselves, because we're not used to it and we haven't developed that, or if we have, we maybe aren't as consistent with it. So it was something that I had to learn. Like even this year, I remember doing a professional development course, and all my stuff was coming up as it does, and I was going through at the time like a really difficult sort of transition with one of my friendships, and we were talking about attachment styles and people pleasing and stuff, and it came up like, what do I need? And I was like, I don't know. I can't tell you. Someone else tell me.
And we don't have all the answers, do we?
And it was so hard because I've been so focused on other people and being able to tune into what they need. That's how I lived life, and that's how I survived, and that's also what helped me be like really good at my profession. I forgot and I didn't develop that skill, and I think that's the major block for people like us.
That makes sense. That's really good practical advice to actually don't be too hard on yourself if you're not already doing something consistently, but then it's really never too late to start with some of these practices. And even as you mentioned, doing that training, that you weren't really attuned to your needs, but then that's now attending that training, it sounds like it's raised your awareness now of maybe some other things that you could focus on.
Yeah, totally. After that, and that question was asked to me, I was like, I went home and I was just constantly reflecting, like, what do I need? What do I need? Because I'm just a little bit corny sometimes. And I was kind of going, okay, so what are the list of needs? Like, what needs are out there? But I was like, if anyone needs an exercise to do, seriously, get a pen and paper out and think about what are kind of like universal human needs. Because it was things like, okay, it's very easy for us to kind of go, I need you to do this. Yes. I need you to speak to me like this. I need you to like clean the dishes. I need you, right? but that's not a need. That's telling someone what to do.
It's more of a request, isn't it?
It's an instruction. It's an instruction.
I'm instructing you to wash the dishes so I can watch Netflix.
Right. It's not actually saying what you need, because a need doesn't have you after it. You don't say, I need you. That's not a need. But a need is something like, I looked it up, it's called in English language an abstract noun. So it's like, I need to be loved. I need to be heard. I need to be listened to. I need to be understood. I need to be protected. I need rest. I need sleep. I need food.
It's almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
right.
Because these are our basic human needs.
Yeah, I need connection, like all of that. And that's a really good framework as well to go, if you don't know what your needs are, like look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because that will give you something. I need safety, like all that sort of stuff. So that was a really good place for me to just start and reflect on, and then to start applying it in life.
And Steph, you use words like movement and embodiment in your work. And for those of us helping professionals who these words are really foreign to us, what does it actually mean, like in practice?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I think, like, for me, because my business is called Movement with Steph.
It is.
But
it's got the sign out the front to prove it.
I know. It's so good. So that one for me, like, it's not just physical movement. Like, I think quite holistic in my practice. So I want to think mental, emotional, spiritual, as well as physical, right? So I think we've all got an understanding what physical movement is. Like, I'm doing it now with my hands. Like, you physically moving your body. But emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, that movement also responds to or refers to not being like stuck. It's having that flow. So if you think about what emotional movement would look like, is if you say you've got an emotion of, like, say like a common one, like anxiety, right? And we can tend to ruminate on it. I want you to think, kind of, if you think of water is a really good analogy for it, but it's like water that's kind of just circling and it's just going around. It's like hitting kind of like a boulder and it's just kind of going in and over itself. That's kind of a bit of stuck energy, right? Stuck emotional energy. So if you remove the boulder and then it flows, it's like a river. And so that's the movement that we want. So even mentally, if like there are thoughts that just keep going around and around and around, it's kind of stuck. And so movement is wanting to access that flow. So that's sort of what I think about when I refer to movement as well. Just flow basically is another word.
Now that you've explained it, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think people think, movement, and I know when we'd recorded previously for my Beyond the Caseload members, we were talking specifically around physical movement because that was the topic. So I know you showed me some, great exercises and we were talking about that. I think some people could think, movement, that's just physical movement, and think that that's overwhelming or daunting if that's also a new concept to them.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And it's one of the things, like, I've had a few people when they've heard of my business go, oh, you're a physiotherapist. And I was like, no, no. Or if they hear that like a Movement with Steph and I'm a psychotherapist and I've got a background in dance, they think I'm a dance therapist.
But is that an option?
I mean, look, if you want to, I'm not going to stop you, but it's not a particular modality that I personally use. And so the movement is more on like a deeper level and more interior, and talking about like that flow, that life forward movement. Yeah. So I hope that.
Yeah. It's almost like movement, like you could see it as like someone's personal growth, or there's sort of journey.
Yeah, and like just everything in life, like we're constantly moving.
Yes.
So stillness is really important. There's a benefit to that. Embodiment's another really good one. We used it a bit earlier, and it's where, practice what you preach. That's kind of like the best way to kind of keep it really simple. Embodiment, it's not just intellectual knowledge. It's just not that cognitive element there. It's where it drops into the heart. It's like it's in your body. You're living it with yourself, with your human body, in the world. So we could just spurt out facts, we could spurt out like psychoeducational knowledge, but if we don't actually practice it, they're not really going to get it. And that's where it goes. It's not just knowledge up here. I could tell you the steps, I could show you how to do it, but until like we're actually living it with our body, that's what embodiment is, and that's gonna help us understand it a lot more, and that allows for that movement, that flow that we're trying to go for to actually happen when we embody it. That's where the change occurs. It's not just cognitively, although that's important. We don't want to just stay up there. We've got to drop it in and really combine both of it so that we can move forward.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's also about being really authentic. So authentic with the clients that you support, but also then authentic with yourself. That if you, and we all have so much knowledge that we've gained, you know, from our academic studies, that's that base level of knowledge, that surface level knowledge, but then you're right, how do we actually practically implement this knowledge into our lives? And Steph, one of the things I'm really huge on advocating for in our profession is boundaries. So this is something I ask every lovely guest I have on the podcast. What is one, I guess, non-negotiable boundary for you that you have that separates your professional and your personal life?
So I was thinking about this as you were asking, and I was like, it's very simple, but I don't work after 6 p.m. So that's been hard. I've recently implemented it and been really strict on it. Oh my gosh, it just changes everything. Yeah. Like, particularly because I'm in my own private practice, I work for myself, and I don't just do counselling and psychotherapy. I've got my wellbeing workshops and my retreats and, you know, all that other stuff. So it's where I've had to really be very strict. I actually made a list. I actually made a list of everything that would come under work or feels like work. So even if it's like ministry-based stuff, right? Volunteering, it has like a work element because I'm using my professional capacity in some way, right? Yes. So I had to make a list of like, this is all the stuff that's work. None of that after 6 p.m. or on Sundays.
That would have been a long list because you're such a busy woman.
Yeah, it was a little bit. And then it just really helped because also things like I enjoy my work, right? Yes. And it's like if I was to read professional reading, you know, so if it's like a book or an article or something like that, not to do it after 6 p.m., not to do it on a Sunday.
Because that's still really work. Even if it's professional learning related to our profession, it is still work.
It's still
because
work.
You're acquiring new academic knowledge. And it's really then designed to support you in the work you do with your clients. So it's work.
Absolutely. And things like, you know, I'll just watch that PD. Like, I'm just going to lie in bed and just watch it and whatever.
That's the worst thing to do, isn't it?
No, like that's work. That's work. And so before I did the 6 p.m. thing, I always had Sundays. Like Sundays were like God's day for me. Like, do not work. Do not do work on this day. I will confess I have slipped up a couple of times and I regret it. I absolutely regret it. So that's something that I'm like, okay, no, this is really important. I need my Sundays off and I need my weekdays after 6 p.m. off. And I like to think of boundaries as protected zones. Yeah. And it just really protects me. It protects my work life. That means when I'm working, I'm focused. I'm in work.
You're all in.
Because I know once the clock hits 6, like I'm literally clocked out. Like I'm not doing that. I'm going to the gym and I'm going to, you know, read a leisurely book or something like that or catch up with friends. And so I have to be on when I've got work because I'm going to be off when I don't. And it really separates and it helps in de-stress.
That's a really good one. And even just for anyone out there who may sometimes slip up with their boundaries, you know, I think asking this question is really important because then everyone listening knows that we can struggle with these things as well. You mentioned you did slip up a few times working on a Sunday and we're only human. We will slip up, but at least if we know, well, these are our non-negotiable boundaries, then we can keep sort of reining ourselves back in.
Yeah. And it was really helpful as well. Like something I like to do is actually if I've slipped up or whatever, I just check back in with myself. Okay, like how does that feel? How does that feel in my body? And I'm like, I'm tired. I'm grumpy. I have less patience with people. And I feel like depleted because my needs haven't been taken care of because I had a need to rest and I didn't honor that. And we learn it better if we make a mistake because we have that embodied, that experience of what goes wrong if we didn't do it the right way or the best way for us. I look back and I go, yeah, like that doesn't make me feel good. in any way. And also, does it not make me not feel good? But it doesn't have a good impact on my clients because I'm not as well rested to go and see them on Monday. And also doesn't make me a good family member or a friend because I don't have as much capacity to engage with them because I've used that a lot of time of energy and capacity to do work. So
yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for sharing your insights with us, not just on the boundaries, but everything that we've spoken about. I'm sure will be really helpful for our listeners out there. Steph, if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way that they can do that?
So probably like social media, Instagram is really good. It's just, my handle's just at Movement with Steph, with a PH, please.
Yes, definitely. Don't misspell any of our names. We don't like that.
So Movement with Steph, or just by my website. I've got blogs coming out like once a month. So movementwithsteph.com.au. They're the best ways to reach out to me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on Not Another PD. It's been an absolute delight to have you, an absolute treasure to our profession. Thank you so much, Steph.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to Not Another PD. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with a colleague who could use stronger boundaries, less burnout and more balance. And don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep saying yes less.